Crypto headlines coming your way, folks. Hillary Clinton fears Bitcoin will undermine the dollar as a world currency. Duh.
Wait, how did she find out about it? Where did she get the news about Bitcoin?
Did you just see the massive horse outside the gate when you let it in? And went, it's a horse. But the cypherpunks gave us this beautiful giant horse.
Yeah. But she's warning us, so we have to watch out that Bitcoin actually doesn't threaten the US dollar.
Yeah, Hillary warned that what looks like a very interesting and somewhat exotic effort to literally mine new coins in order to trade them has the potential to undermine currencies. What currency? Yeah, no. What? No, it's a competing currency. It has the ability to undermine absolute corrupt filth. Yeah, that's true. But the fact of the matter is, it keeps the bastards honest. Let's face it. Because what happens is, if you guys mess up with your currency, there's an exit door. There always has been, and it's been called gold. But now it's gold because gold hasn't had the great utility that Bitcoin has. But now you've got Bitcoin and gold. And not only Bitcoin, obviously the whole crypto sphere, the whole technological sphere that's building up. And you've got thousands and thousands of developers and engineers working now that Satoshi solved the main problem, which was the double spend problem.
Yeah.
We have this competing currency. So it's truly the only one that's an actual competition to the rest of the currencies because it's decentralized. It doesn't have a company behind it. It doesn't have a centralized authority that can hold guns or take funds away. So
or just print endless money.
Yeah.
And actually destabilize the nation. And that's the funny thing, Josh, to be honest, about the criticism she's saying here is like, Bitcoin will destabilize a nation. Woo, sounds really scary. But actually what happens around the world, and we saw it in the history a couple of times, poor monetary policies, they do really destabilize nations. Printing trillions worth of US dollar, actually trillions US dollar, out of nowhere destabilizes a nation. Yeah, destabilizes government and policies. And Bitcoin is an alternative. But recent monetary policies, I believe, are the bigger risk and the much bigger risk, because printing trillions dollars out of nowhere doesn't sound right to me.
Well, it doesn't sound right to anybody because the funny thing is there's massive inflation happening right now. The Americans are paying like $6 to $7. I saw like it was $8 a gallon for gas in the States. Like this is just insane. And they're like, whoa, no one could have seen this coming. Well, actually, a lot of people saw it coming. In fact, the whole cryptocurrency is based around that concept.
Yeah. So printing money, one thing, not good. But then negative interest rates here in Europe, also not good.
Yeah, total experiment.
It's just silly. And then saying that a new technology that's giving people an alternative is destabilizing nations, I don't buy that. I think it's just a blame game. And actually, she will blame, once the US goes down, and this is what I can foresee, they will blame new competing currencies, new technologies for the US economy to potentially shrink or to enter a recession because of actually poor monetary policies. Yeah. They just push down the can down the road and not solve anything.
Well, it's funny because everyone's complaining about the gas prices in the States now. So Joe Biden's saying, well, we're going to dip into our reserves and release 50 million barrels of oil and put it into the market to lower gas prices. And you think, wow, 50 million barrels, Joe. 50, that's amazing. Wow, good on you. Wow.
But we have free markets and they're not manipulated. Yeah, they're manipulated by one entity, the state, the governments.
But get this right. How many barrels of oil do you think Americans go through per day?
Oh, that's a hard one. I don't know, 150.
25 million barrels.
I would say 150. Okay. Wow. That's.
I hate it when you say, guess how much this cost? You're like, way over guess. And you're like, oh, actually, it was...
No, I did a quick calculation. What? US population is like 300 million people.
Yeah.
And with all the industry, all the manufacturing and everything I counted into, I thought like half a gallon per head would be approximately right. With also driving, you know, they have heavy trucks and such.
Yeah.
So I thought it would make sense in my...
Well, I don't know. I don't know where this stat comes from, because that does sound right. But apparently the stat is 25 million per day barrels. And Joe's like, I'll fix inflation. 50 million barrels. Give the folks 50 million.
Wait, so that won't move anything.
2 days. Yeah. 2 days of oil.
Okay.
Oh, cheers. Cheers, Joe. Thanks, Joe.
Good.
But yeah, anyway, by the way, guys, if you haven't read the book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, there you will see what the likes like George Soros and stuff that have actually gone and manipulated economies and undermined sovereign nations. That's where you see the nefarious ones. What Bitcoin and crypto is doing is basically saying, hey, there's another choice. It's not coercing anyone. There's no force. It's like, hey, let's build something better. And if you don't like the old, make it obsolete. And that's exactly what's happening. So, you know, it's funny that Hillary finally maybe gets it.
Yeah. Good. Next news. IMF warns El Salvador against using Bitcoin. Cites threats to financial stability?
Yeah. So the IMF, the IMF warns of financial stability problems. Well, where do you start with this one?
Well, okay, we can start with it's actually what they should do. They should actually stabilize prices and monetary policies around the world, because the 190 countries that are participating in the IMF agree to this. So yeah, they're doing their job. But again, here you see, that's part of my twisted conspiracy theory, where you see these news piling up, and then once monetary policies really clearly don't work anymore, there's someone to blame. Like, there will be someone to blame, and that person, that technology, not the person, but the technology is called Bitcoin. And I think this is what is happening, because...
Well, yeah.
You know,
there's a couple of blamers here that they can point fingers at. The stock exchange was already screwed. The monetary policies of the states was already screwed, and the world was following the states. So you had already massive global inflation. The thing is that COVID was a really nice blame tool. They could point at COVID and go, oh, the economy is crap because of COVID and we've had to print all this money, which they did, and it's just helping that cause. But the actual problem was already there. So, you know, if you really stick your conspiracy hat on, you could say COVID was just so you could blame something external. Like in 2008, they blamed like poor people for like rich people screwing everything up by saying, oh, they couldn't pay their debts, you know. So there's always this blame game. But Bitcoin, like you said, Bitcoin is the ultimate blame. It's like, Bitcoin is the thing to blame. The IMF better not, you know. I mean, you know, El Salvador playing in this sandbox is really, really fascinating. I'm not sure if they're doing it exactly right, but they are doing it. So I think the IMF really don't have any control over Bitcoin, and this is what they're worried about.
Yeah, I totally agree. But you know, all these like pieces of news coming from various parts of the world, from various like financial organizations, you know, if you follow the trails of different pieces of info, then you clearly see that there's something building up, like a case starting to pile up against a technology, against maybe a movement. You know, all these news, Hillary, IMF, like lately we had someone from the SEC that was saying actually something similar. So all these different pieces, they are just part of a massive blame game, and that's really at the end of the day, that's my theory that I can see develop slowly, and where people start to Bitcoin comes with a lot of great stuff, but where light is also shadow. However, people learn to adopt to the technology and learn to understand that private keys have to be stored securely. Some people don't get it and still lose them. However, newspapers immediately pick up such incidences and blame the whole technology for being not secure. Or someone's computer gets hacked and someone gets access to someone else's private key. Same thing, Bitcoin is not secure. No, that's not what it is. And you just see around different parts of the world, different kind of stories popping up and just talking very negatively about cryptocurrencies. You always see also news about cryptocurrencies are pure gamble. Well, if cryptocurrencies are a pure gamble, what are stablecoins? Stablecoins, you can't actually gamble on volatile prices. So it doesn't make sense.
You can chuck them in an AMA though and get some mad APYs.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, but you're spot on. The thing is that this slagging, this slinging, mudslinging that's happened in Bitcoin has happened since day one. Back in the in the Silk Road days, it was like Bitcoin's only for drug dealers.
Oh yeah.
It's only for pornographers, and actually it was the same thing for the internet when it first started. The internet was only for pornography, and if you're on the internet, you're a freak. And until everyone started coming online and thinking, wow, this is amazing. You've got the sum of all human knowledge here on the internet. The fact of the matter is, it wasn't just for that, but it grabs headlines. The thing that really is scary for Bitcoin, and this is where the IMF and Hillary Clinton could do something, is that she could, they could actually print money that they can print out of nowhere and then buy these rare assets. And this is where like centralized stablecoins and CBDCs are very, very dangerous. All this mudslinging and name calling and saying it's this and that, Bitcoin doesn't care. It just keeps going. It just lies down and keeps going. The part that is vulnerable for Bitcoin is the price. And the hardcore Bitcoiners and hardcore crypto people will be like, I don't care about price. 1 Bitcoin is always equal 1 Bitcoin. And if it goes down to 0, I'll buy the lot. Sure. But actually, it does matter. The price does matter, no matter what you say.
Yeah.
And so what could happen is that they could start manipulating the price because it's pegged. It's not pegged, but it's highly controlled by a government that can print value out of nowhere, or what's perceived as value, and then be able to buy up real value, which is these rare numbers. And so once you can do that, you can play with it. This is the same problem with El Salvador, and this is why like hardcore crypto people celebrating El Salvador. Look, take my hat off. It's a cool idea, do it. But the whole point is to be state independent. The separation of money and state is what's here important.
Yeah.
And this is what's happening. We don't need to bow down and celebrate this glorious day of a state using Bitcoin. I don't care. Good on you. Use it. It's there to be used. It's an open protocol. But yeah.
But there's also more bullish news coming from El Salvador.
Yeah.
In particular, they're setting up a $1 billion fund that's going to be 50% split into Bitcoin investments, meaning they're going to buy pure Bitcoin. And they're going to invest into the Bitcoin infrastructure, meaning mining and so on. A little correction here, it's actually not a fund, it's a bond. So they're going to issue a bond go double down on Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's going to be issued on the Liquid network, which is by Blockstream, which is like a side chain to Bitcoin. It's very, very interesting. The thing is, this is where it starts, right? They say they're buying $500 million worth of Bitcoin. With what? With what are they buying it with? Because if they buy the first 25 million with their local currency, then it's like, maybe the first people buy it, and the next people, and then it'll get more and more expensive because they start realizing, or it won't get more expensive actually, just in their currency it will, because no one will want it, because are they printing it out of nowhere?
Yeah.
I mean, El Salvador does a lot with the US dollar. So if it is the US dollar, then at least there's a little bit of protection there from that mechanic.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting move, having a bond. Is it tradable? Is it in how many? Like, is it one bond? Like, how many bonds are there?
Well, there's not a lot of info out yet.
Is it going to be on the DEX?
So we're going to keep you posted on that story. But you know what is really fascinating to me, and taking it more in a holistic perspective.
What's that, mate?
What's happening? So thinking a little bit outside the El Salvador here, and seeing how actually Bitcoin shifts worth and value. Because if you're early on in a technology like Bitcoin, as a government, as a country, you know, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, so I'm just talking from my perspective and not giving investment advice on that point. But you know, Bitcoin really shifted value throughout different countries. Like when China exited Bitcoin and banned mining as well as trading, you know, they take a lot of value out of people's pockets, and this value is going elsewhere. And meaning countries like El Salvador, if they start early on, adapting Bitcoin as a legal tender, what they did, and also if they build the infrastructure to have efficient mining facilities in El Salvador, this is a really great new revenue stream for the country and also for the people. So you will see crypto and the adoption of crypto actually shifting GDPs around the world, meaning value created by a government within a country within a year. And that's really interesting, that concept that now even countries, even governments, they become really like within their policies nowadays, like in a broader sense, like VCs, like early angel investors into technologies. Because if they may open the room for new technologies to come in, it becomes really, really fascinating to see these technologies to really take off within a certain country, and then also to create wealth for the people. And I think this will happen to Bitcoin in El Salvador and to this new infrastructure that's going to be built, because it will just benefit at the end the people living there. And
the problem I see with governments implementing Bitcoin is who holds the private keys? Because at the end of the day, if you think of a government just as a family, just as especially dictatorships, let's put it that way. I don't know what better way to put it right now. But if you have a mafia, elected or not, that's holding a bunch of private keys, what's to stop them ever just stealing that, or saying, I dispute this election, I'm taking all the Bitcoin. Or what? So what I would like to see is maybe all citizens have access to a multi-sig, and 51% of the citizens have to sign to move the Bitcoin reserve to a new address or something like that, so that you have distribution amongst the people rather than the state of whether you can move it. The state could initiate the transfer to a certain other address, but everyone would have to vote with their private keys. That would be really cool, because then you're not trusting a small clique family unit or you know, a bunch that could potentially become corrupt, let's put it that way. You know, I believe that most people are corruptible in power seats, so you want to diminish trust, and this is what cryptography is all about, and especially cryptocurrency, especially the cypherpunk movement, was all about, you know, diminishing that need for trust. So this is, I think something that should be looked into. But it's very, very hard to convince a government to do such a thing, because you're letting...
That is a very good point, yeah. But yeah, open markets and policies, rather than restricting new technologies, opening markets up for new technologies will facilitate growth. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, the Bitcoin City is also a pretty cool project. Bitfinex, which is participating in this, describes it more as the first debt security to build energy infrastructure for the development of Bitcoin mining. Okay. This is still, okay, so this is El Salvador still.
Right.
And, okay. Bitfinex.
Building a Bitcoin city, what does it mean? All monetary transactions going to be in Bitcoin. This is how, and there will be the option for get a loan out for like building a Bitcoin mining facility. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think what would really be cool is to use Bitcoin, because no one wants to sell an appreciating asset. And this is what we're building at the Standard, is so that people can put Bitcoin in as debt and borrow from themselves in another stable asset, let's say a stable fiat pegged to something, or pegged to a fiat, sorry, or pegged to gold, or pegged to a stock, or pegged to something else, so that your main asset, Bitcoin, is still there. And this is an important part. And that's why I don't think like a whole Bitcoin city spending Bitcoin here and there, everyone will just be depressed after 5 years. Like, why did I buy that thing? I could have been I could have been a million, you know. So you want to have the ability to borrow. The thing is, like a lot of people will build up these centralized mechanisms. So I'd like to see that also decentralized.
A lot of people don't want to be paid also in Bitcoin, funny enough, because Bitcoin is volatile, still very volatile. The use case for payments for Bitcoin is there, and I can definitely see this. However, me personally, I would love to be paid then in a stable coin if I'm a freelancer, where I'm assured that, number one, my work actually will lead to a certain outcome, monetary outcome.
Or if you're selling stock and you have to restock, it gets very difficult. You have to hedge and all this.
Yeah, so there are some difficulties within using Bitcoin as the sole form of transactions. However, there are solutions within the crypto space already, just simply called stablecoins. And this is where also the Standard comes in.
But you want decentralized stablecoins.
Yeah.
We've got to move away from these centralized ones.
Let's throw another sexy word in there.
Yeah.
Decentralized algorithmic stablecoins.
Nice. Yeah, that's true. The algorithmic stablecoins are really, for me, I'm super, not bullish in a price way, but I'm very, very bullish on the future of those. And they don't need to be pegged to a fiat. You know, the thing is, there's no such thing as stability in the entire universe. This is why we have entropy. Everything's moving, everything's in flux. But some things are more in flux than others. And Bitcoin is still in a price discovery phase. People are still trying to find out what this thing is worth. And so selling it would be really hard. So so for transactions, I think being able to borrow against it and transacting in that would be superb. And that's what we're building.
A little bit off topic.
Yeah.
But you know what I think fascinating? You open a newspaper, and basically in the big newspapers, you just see most of the time very bearish news for Bitcoin. And back in the days, bearish news led always to a price drop. But I think the Bitcoin community is not sensitive in that way anymore at all.
Oh, well, I know. Like China can ban Bitcoin nowadays, and it's like, a little dip here and
a little dip.
goes.
A couple of days later, everything is forgotten.
Yeah.
And China has been forgotten that they banned Bitcoin.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
It is awesome. It's really great that people get to filter on and really believe in the technology.
Do you know what a fainting goat is?
No.
Yeah, look up fainting goats.
Fainting goats?
Yeah, basically there's a certain breed of goat that if they get scared, even a clap, like if you clap new one, they just freeze and they fall. Right? And I call Bitcoin the fainting goat of money, because that's really what used to happen is someone goes, some FUD, and then it would fall, and it would just get straight back up again and keep going. Yeah. And all these, press talking heads would go, Bitcoin's dead! They point at this fainted goat, and really it just gets back up.
It's funny.
But it'll head towards, also being known as the honey badger, because it doesn't give a shit. Just,
doesn't give an
It doesn't.
Good. Great. So that was the news for today.
Yeah, long-winded.
Guys, fun hanging out with you guys. Please hit that subscribe button, the ring bell button, go on our Discord channel, go on our Telegram, spam us, text us, tell us what we can improve, tell us what you want to see for the Standard protocol to be in the future. Tell us which stablecoins you actually want to be issued through the Standard protocol.
You can spam him, don't spam me.
But I will forward it to him.
Hey, Definitely the Discord, man. It's starting to really heat up. We've got so many new members joining. If you want to jump in there, we're going to have voice channels so people can just hang out and chat, talk crypto, learn a lot, learn about what we're doing at the Standard, ask us anything. We've got giveaways. We've also got a giveaway coming up. On Friday, we do the draw of the 2 MacBooks coming up, and then a major MacBook Pro giveaway as well a week after that. Cool. So yeah, join up to the whitelist. Yeah. That's at thestandard.io, and I'll see you. We'll see you guys.
Yeah, we see you around, guys. Cheers, guys.